Welcome to Real-ationship Goals, a podcast all about the realities of healthy relationships. Real-ationship Goals is a project of the Advocacy Center for Crime Victims and Children in Waco, Texas. If you or someone you know has experienced sexual violence or harassment and is seeking support, services, or needs more information, links to resources and our hotline number can be found in the description. The views expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect those of their organizations or affiliates. Hey guys, welcome back to Real-ationship Goals Season 5, Episode 9. I'm Kyla.
I'm Maria.
I'm Ariana.
And we're so excited to be back here with you guys. Again, we hope y'all have had a wonderful fall and or Thanksgiving break. And we're going to jump in today with our story, which I think Maria has.
Yes. Okay. So when I was in high school a while ago, Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, Twitter, was really popular, and we would get it on our school iPads. And anyways, we had a page for the school that was a confessions page, and it was like you could submit your confessions to whoever was running the account. Nobody knew who it was, but you would be able to say like, oh yeah, so and so did this or so and so said that, and just different like rumors that were true would be posted on there. And there was a lot of things going on in this school that I didn't need to know about, truly. But also it just kind of always made me wonder, like, who is this? And like, they feel so comfortable posting online that it could be really anyone, even people you don't suspect it being. But I always thought, that was a wild time. It's inactive now, but
That's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with us. So today, as you've probably noticed by the title of our video, we are going to be talking about anonymity online and a little bit about like what that looks like, what does that mean, and most importantly, how does the perception of anonymity online kind of pertain to our relationships? Is it a healthy thing? Is it an unhealthy thing? I don't know. We're going to find out. That's why we're here. But just to kind of set us a stronger foundation for this discussion, the definition from Oxford Language Dictionary for anonymity is the condition of being anonymous or a lack of outstanding individual or unusual features. So basically what that means is anonymity is whenever you don't know the person's identity. And specifically online, you don't know like the poster's identity. So maybe it's one of those, like you've probably seen the usernames where it's like user 256789432 1 6. So it's kind of like that, and there's no profile picture and things like that. I feel like I see a ton of those.
Oh yeah.
Which part of me is like, hey, I get it. Like maybe you aren't so dedicated to this platform that you want to make a username, or maybe you don't want to post your picture, because after all, we had a whole episode on privacy. So I'm like, maybe you don't want to put your name and face out there, which totally get that. But more frequently, I think that anonymity is more used, like it's more weaponized than is like utilized, I guess, if that makes sense. But I don't know. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I feel like it's more weaponized. I feel like for those like pages that don't have pictures and have the long, unusual usernames, they use it to their advantage. Because we engage with people on different things, different sorts of media platforms, and they use that to their advantage to try to either get something from someone or maybe try to meet up with a person that like they could just be like really nervous. Like it could be a relationship, like, oh, I have a crush on this person and I'm a little bit nervous of meeting them in person, so I'm just gonna hide behind this, this account doesn't have a picture, doesn't have a real name on it, and things like that. So it can have a dangerous and unhealthy impact to that as well. So
Yeah, and so like I've had anonymous, social media platforms. I still have like one for a specific one where I just go and I post and look at whoever's page that I want to, because sometimes it'll tell you like so and so looked at your page and I'm
Mhm.
like
Definitely not.
I don't want people to know. Like sometimes I get people like, oh, you might know this, and I don't want to click on it and they're like, oh, they're stalking me. No, I just want to see who this is because I
Yeah.
don't know who this is or who like friends in common are. But I don't know. I think it's like a power thing too, kind of goes into that
Mhm.
because you like they don't know who you are. You could be like blackmailing them or whatever, and you have all the power.
I hadn't thought about that.
You gotta think like them.
No.
No. Don't recommend. No.
Well, that's a really good point, especially I think like one of the most frequent things that like this anonymous kind of social media usage. I'm struggling with words today. But I think one of the biggest things that it's used for is it's kind of like a shield
Mm,
of, oh, because like my name and my face isn't attached to this, that means that there are no consequences.
Yeah.
And I can do like whatever I want. And there's like an inherent kind of power balance in that, I think, as well. If it's like, oh, like I know who you are, but you don't know who I am. And because of that, I feel empowered to say and do like whatever I want.
mhm.
And that's a big yikers.
Yeah.
That becomes the unhealthy, the dangerous part.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, it's kind of scary thinking about this as well. But we don't want to like scare people into thinking like every, you know, page or whatever the
Mhm.
case may be you come across is, oh, they're out to get
Dangerous.
you, or
Yeah.
it's a cyber criminal, or it's a hacker or something
Mhm.
like that. No, that's not always the case, but it's just always safe to be cautious of those things and be aware that those things are going on in today's time.
Mhm. And I mean, half the time, like you said, it's not a cyber criminal. It's just a hater.
It's just a
just a hater.
hater.
Are you calling me a hater?
No, no.
No.
I mean, I hope not.
No.
I don't know.
We love you,
I'm
Mama.
hoping you're not hating, but
No.
but like a lot of times, I guess what are some ways that folks might use anonymity just because I'm in the lexicon now, to be a hater?
Oh my gosh, you see it all the time with celebrities. People will make like fan pages or whatever of one, like with the Hailey Bieber and Selena thing.
No, and that's
People were like posting on the others like stuff, like really, really awful things. But they were anonymous on the platform, so it was like, you know,
I
what do
can
you
do
care?
whatever I want. You
Yeah.
don't know who this is. It doesn't track back to the person
Mhm.
that has posted it. So that's the thing about being anonymous. Is like you're unreachable, you're untrackable. Like in a way, you're kind of not a person, but you are a person at the
Mhm.
same time. You just
Mhm.
cannot be tracked down at all.
Mhm.
There is also like I'll see on Facebook on like news. I'll look at some of the news things and people will be like, "Oh, this isn't no local news or whatever," and it's like pages of like very obviously fake, like they were just created. There's
Mhm.
nothing on there, and it's like a dog. It's just a dog with a profile picture, and the name's like something really random and weird.
Interesting. I don't think I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'll have to show you sometime. But it's they'll just like go on there and just hate on
Oh.
whatever.
That's rough. Yeah, I definitely second probably the most common or I think the most common that I see is definitely like towards celebrities. And we talked about this a little bit before we started recording, but it's so common, I think, because like we see celebrities, it's like, oh, they have 7 million followers and every post they make gets 100,000 comments. So, and like they're all positive and oh, they get all this love, and I think they're overrated. So I'm gonna say like whatever I want in their comments, and it doesn't matter. They're not gonna see it.
Hmm.
That's not true.
Yes.
Until they do.
I don't think there's a person alive who at some point or another like won't
come across.
Yeah, or won't go looking it out.
Yeah.
Because people love validation. I'll admit it. I love validation,
Mhm.
positive reinforcements and the like. And at the same time, I also want to know like if somebody's like talking bad about me.
Mhm.
And I think that's kind of a human desire that wealth and fame does not wash away.
Mhm.
It's, I think there's like been certain celebrities that are like, yeah, like I don't look at my comments. I have someone look at them for me.
Mm.
Because I mean, like after a while,
It's a
that
mental thing.
yes, exactly.
Mhm.
I wouldn't want to see someone post like anonymously on my things, like, oh, she has weird teeth
Mhm.
or
Sure.
whatever.
Well, now I definitely won't go and comment that anywhere.
So if I
So-
see a comment, I know it's Kyla.
I guess thinking of like impacts, like what do you think some of the impacts are, not only on folks that are on like the receiving end of like anonymous comments and posts and things like that?
Mhm.
So like the anonymous like receiving end of like those like confessional stories and stuff like that. Like I want us to think kind of like how are those folks impacted? And at the same time, I kind of want to think about what are the impacts that this kind of behavior has on the people that are engaging in this behavior. Because, and let's maybe start there, because like the first thing that I can think of is just like bitterness and how like just
Bitterness, envy, jealousy,
Mhm.
things like that. And like when you think about, oh, when this anonymous person is posting this and then other people start engaging in it, it kind of sends that signal out that, oh, well, this is okay. If this person can do it,
Mhm.
so can I. And like,
Like a
I
domino
don't think
effect.
nobody really thinks about it that much. And it's like,
Mhm.
well, no, you don't know that for sure. Because like you said earlier, like with the celebrities, it's like, there's not a day that a
Mhm.
person might not go looking
Mhm.
for that to see what is somebody saying about me. Just how we like validation, we also want to know and be aware of what else is being said about us,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So just like people that are engaging in that activity, like being unaware of how it affects people
Mhm.
that they're talking about.
Yeah.
So,
I think,
or even being aware and
yeah,
just
not
not
caring.
caring.
yeah.
So like a lack of empathy.
Yeah.
I think also it's like, I wonder like if people who are doing this and like maybe they're like on a power trip and like it's like boosting their ego so much that
Mhm.
they
Mhm.
might feel like encouraged to like do things outside of like the online world,
Mm.
and it would just give them confidence to just kind of,
Escalate.
yeah.
Interesting.
Mhm.
I think the psychology behind all of that would be really interesting to just kind of,
Mhm.
So it kind of leads into cyberbullying.
Mhm.
And then if you're comfortable enough to doing this online, because you're not being able to be reached or tracked back to, you're eventually might even be more comfortable with doing it in person.
mhm.
Mhm.
So it leads to an event of
Mhm.
things happening.
I also think like especially, I'm not saying there aren't necessarily punishments or consequences if you do this on a larger scale, like towards a celebrity or something. But especially like if you're engaging with this kind of behavior, like cyberbullying anonymously, like for like people in your school, like locally,
Mhm.
you're gonna get caught. Like I feel very strongly about that.
Yeah,
I
eventually.
just have a feeling people are gonna realize, people are gonna connect the dots. Like I just think it's gonna be very difficult to truly hide that.
Yeah,
forever.
like forever. You can't
Yeah.
hide that forever, especially like if you're sharing specific details about a
Stories.
situation and stories about people, like, and they catch on to it and like, oh, well, I remember telling this person this, so now I'm seeing it online. So now it's just like connect.
Who would know this thing?
Who would know this?
Yeah.
So eventually you won't be anonymous for long
Mhm.
and you will be caught.
I think the root of it all is think about what you're doing. Like, take 2 seconds. Think about like what you're saying. Is what you're saying bringing any good to this world? Do you have negative energy that you need to get out? Valid. That's valid. Do you not like a particular celebrity or a piece of media that they've produced or XYZ or this person from your school? That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to like them. Not everything and not everyone is for everybody, but you have to find a better outlet.
Mm-hmm.
Write it in a journal. Write it in a journal.
Go to therapy.
Burn the journal. Go to therapy. Always 10 out of 10 recommend
Yeah.
therapy. Find somewhere that is not in public to air these things, because while your feelings are valid
Mm-hmm.
and that's okay to feel that way, it's not valid and it's not okay to put that energy out into the world, because it's
Mhm.
not fair to that other person. So we just want to kind of encourage you to kind of stop and think, does this need to be said?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. Yeah. But so then kind of shifting from that, I guess, back to the impact on like the receiver.
Mhm.
I feel like obvious ones are like mental health impacts.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're receiving hate comments or
Backlash.
having your dirty laundry thrown out like on these confessional, that's just, it
It could lead
feels,
to a couple of different things. It could lead to depression. It could lead to
Eating disorders.
isolation,
Yeah.
eating disorders, especially if
Yes.
you're seeing comments about a person's body, the
Mhm.
shape, the weight, or whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
It could lead to eating disorders. It could also lead to anger
Mhm.
issues as well, and like them taking their anger out on other people that has nothing to do with
Mhm.
whoever has posted this thing. Like it's a domino effect.
Mhm.
Like it could lead to a big, huge disaster of things going on.
And it could impact their other relationships, like
True.
some of the things that are being said. And like that could, and like part of that, like impacting their self-esteem can also impact their relationships. So it's really, it's not an isolated, like
Mhm.
one-off comment. It is,
Yeah.
you're throwing
Affecting
you're throwing a
multiple
grenade
aspects.
into somebody's like mental space.
Yeah, like if, for example, like I was on the rocks with someone and then somebody comes in with an anonymous comment of like, oh yeah, like this is said, I'd like,
Yeah.
Mm.
would be like, oh my God, so I like can't trust or
Yeah.
like can't do this and can't do that. So it's just, yeah, I think it's all fun and games until it's not. And it
Yeah.
becomes not fun and games as soon as that
Yeah.
first comment is posted.
It becomes not fun and games very quickly.
Yeah.
And I do think it's important for us to kind of like caveat maybe before kind of transitioning into relationship goals. But once again, like safety is always its own thing. And if you know that someone is in a relationship with someone who is unhealthy
Mhm.
or potentially a danger to them, and you need to let them know, that's different. Like anonymously, making anonymous reports
Mhm.
is different.
Mhm.
Like anonymity can also be a safety tool.
Mhm.
And I think that's important to distinguish.
Yeah.
So that is different. And that's a different instance. So I just want to be
Yeah.
clear and kind of making that. I just feel like that should be said.
Mhm.
But I guess, do we want to scoot on into our relationship goal?
Sure thing. So I have our relationship goal for this episode, and basically what I wanted to just state is being more cautious with whoever or whatever you're engaging with in the media, different aspects of the media, whatever the case may be. Like if you feel skeptical about engaging with a particular person or anything on the media, you can block.
Mhm.
You can filter out from getting notifications or
Mm.
anything from that specific page, person, thing, whatever the case may be. Just so you're able to protect your privacy matters, your mental, your emotional health as well. And so that domino effect is cut short immediately.
Mhm.
Like it stops there. So that was my relationship goal for you guys.
Awesome. Thank you. And then Maria has our recommendation for today.
Yes, so my recommendation for today is rubber duckies.
Mm-hmm.
If you could see my desk right now, there is about, I don't know, like 10, 12?
Yeah.
Like 10 or 12 rubber
Many.
duckies, and I have more at home to put on my desk. and build a shrine to. But they Marie Kondo my life. They spark joy.
Mhm.
Love the
So,
duckies.
just an emotional attachment collectible.
Having a little visual treat. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. We're so glad you're here. We'll be back next week with another episode of Real-ationship Goals. But in the meantime, if you just really want some more P&E content, be sure to follow us on Instagram at ACCVC_prevention and follow our podcast on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from. Follow us on YouTube, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Thanks so much for tuning in to Real-ationship Goals. This episode was produced by the Prevention and Education Department of the Advocacy Center for Crime Victims and Children in Waco, Texas. You can follow us on Instagram at ACCVC_prevention. See you next time.